MVPs. Well, it's just me and Jordan because somebody
can't be here.
Yep. We ain't gonna.
He didn't die.
We ain't gonna say no names, but obviously,
no names.
Somebody is in here. But the show must go on, and because you know he usually somewhere in the middle. But anyway, you know, well JT behind ain't here, so the white guy ain't here.
Wow.
But the show must goes on. We still love you. We hope you get your car situation situated, and hopefully I am the provider to help you get that situation situated.
Stop selling the internet, the car you're trying to sell. I don't know what you're trying to get through here, but I don't.
But anyway, we're supposed to be talking about anime. We're gonna do a recap on anime. Jordan got a long list of things that he has to retool, and he's recently started watching. Me, I finally caught up to a long host of things that I've had to put on hold, some put on hold, and some I'm about to start to watch here soon. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm not a big, I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't gonna watch anime 24/7, especially with football season on the horizon. Mm-hmm. We just came out this dead season between mid-June and July, and the whole month of July. Forget that, the whole month of July. Mm-hmm. Training camp starts in 2 or next week, actually. Next week. So I love football. We love football. So that's gonna cut down on most of my anime time. I'm not gonna lie. Jordan, he could balance a lot better than me. But this video is gonna be specifically about.
I also don't have a life, so.
But you know, Jordan, he gonna be educate y'all on the stuff that he's watching, stuff that you probably should look out for as well. So let's get into it, Jordan. What are you watching?
Right now, the first thing, and I know a lot of people have already been talking about it, is Zom 100. Zom 100 is going to be funny, gory, and look immaculate. Because for people who don't know, it's a Japanese office worker who thought he was getting into like animation or something like that. And he got a job, and he was super excited about being in the industry. He got a job very early, off of getting out of high school or college, whatever he got out of school. And he was really, really excited. Everybody was like, hey, we're happy to have you on board. Cool. Had a welcoming party. At the end of the welcoming party, they're like, all right, had the party, let's get back to work. And then he realized he was a slave at that job. He didn't get to go home. Like, after his first day of work, he did not get to, his initial work day, he did not get to go home for 2 days.
What?
He was just at work, had to sleep there, and didn't get that much sleep. He had that much work to do.
That sounds like a football coach.
Worse.
Yeah, eventually they get to
You
go
can watch
home.
film at home.
Yeah, well, I've heard stories, but yeah.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, but 2 days?
2 days he did not go home, and that was after he initially started the job. And then they basically fast forward you about 2 years of him just working that job, and it's gotten no better. Like, you've seen him go home, and you see his apartment's just trash. There's trash everywhere. He can't sleep. He has the darkest bags under his eyes and everything. And he's watching a zombie movie, and he realizes it's like 4 a.m. He's like, I gotta go to sleep because I gotta go back to work. But as he's watching the zombie movie, he goes, I would love for that to happen because that means I don't have to go to work. And luckily for him, the apocalypse starts happening. A zombie apocalypse happens, and the whole thing is he is making a 100 things to do before he turns into a zombie, because he's like, I'm clearly gonna die in the apocalypse at some point. I'm gonna die, and he's like, I'm gonna make a list of 100 things I want to do before I die, because he had already been going. He wants to get his motorcycle license. He wants to do a couple of things, but he couldn't do any of that because he was slaving away at work.
Right.
So he finally starts to make that list, and it's just like, the whole premise is like, the apocalypse is a terrible, terrible time for everyone but this guy, because he's like, at the end of the day, I don't have to go to my office job.
I don't know why he don't quit. Why don't he just quit?
Well, if he tries to go to another company, he's going to be blacklisted because he has terrible, terrible bosses. If he just straight up quits, the only thing he has knowledge of is this, and he played a little bit of rugby, but he doesn't like a star rugby athlete or anything. So if he leaves, the terrible time he is going to have to try to find a job. He can't get one in his industry because he's going to be blacklisted and things like that. And also one of the things that he had a really big issue with is from episode 1 you realize he's very, very loyal. And he couldn't bear, because some people quit. And he was like, all that work got shoved onto him when those people quit. And he was like, I can't do that to the next guy.
Right.
So he was like, he was just sticking it out. And they've already shown that there's going to be other people who are also making lists. Like there's a girl, she's making a list of 100 things that you need to do to survive. Kind of like on some Zombieland shit.
Right.
Like these are her rules of the apocalypse. And it's like, you can already see that there's going to be, he's going to get a crew of people. Now what they're going to be doing on whether or not because he goes back to his apartment. He lives in his apartment. I'm only on episode 2. I think episode 3 came out, I think either this weekend or they're only on 2 episodes. And it's like literally the first day of the apocalypse when he goes back home, he's like, it's my first day off in a long time. I'm going to chill at home drinking beer. And then he drinks 2 beers and realizes he only had 2 beers. So he has to go out and buy more beer. And he's chipper as fuck, has a smile on his face the entire time that the apocalypse has been happening. Man's on cloud 9. The girl he liked died pretty quickly, so you don't even really have to deal with that. So he's on cloud 9, because he's like, I don't have to go to work. And I don't want to go to work.
Understood. What else we got?
That's my number 1 on other people should be watching that. My number 2 on things that I'm watching right now, I'm not going to give it to One Piece, even though One Piece is great and everybody should be trying to catch up on One Piece. It's great, but Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War is currently going through, and obviously, if you're not watching, if you didn't start 1,000-Year Blood War and go ahead and watch that first season, go ahead and do it. They're not slowing down for 1,000-Year Blood War. They opened up on, hey, shit hit the fan, and shit is still hitting the fan. It's like there's a lull in it, but they're on episode 3, I believe, right now, and they're already back to, alright, so you remember like we had like 3 episodes where Ichigo was in the Sarate getting his shit together? That was the low. That was the low point of, hey, we're just kind of cruising right now. They're back up to, nah, like, get your shit together. We stealing bankais, and we coming back to murder you. This is what's,
man, listen,
they on 10.
I was telling my cousin, my youngest, well, not my youngest, he's somewhere down there, my cousin Daniel.
A younger cousin.
Well, yeah, he's somewhere down. But anyway, Daniel, about a couple months ago, last time I talked to him, I actually need to call him. Sorry, Daniel, I need to reach out to you. But
what's up, Daniel?
But I was talking to him, he was like, I said, man, he was telling me, oh, you need to do this, you need to watch this, and I said, hey, have you started watching Bleach? He's like, nah, man, Bleach ain't all that good. I said, well, the what? I said, have you watched the whole first season, well, the initial season? I said, he's like, yeah, a little bit of it, I wasn't interested. I said, okay. Just like how you kind of forced me to watch One Piece, I need you to force yourself to watch Bleach, the first season, and then watch 1,000 Years Blood War, because 1,000 Year Blood War is going to change your mind completely. Like about the whole thing.
Quick little caveat, when he says season, he means all the arcs.
Well, yeah.
Because Bleach is separated in arcs, and people are going to be like, oh, you only watched the first season? But he means the entirety of Bleach before 1,000 Year Blood War.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
Thank you.
We don't need to hear it. When they come in the comments and be like, you only watched one season and then went to 1,000-Year Blood War, it's like, shut up. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, I was telling him, yeah, watch the whole first ordeal of Bleach, and then you come back and you watch it. I said, because it gets better. Not only do the graphics is better, the storyline get better, the action is overwhelming. Like 1,000-Year War, the first part of 1,000-Year War, oh my goodness, I was so overwhelmed. And then I had to go back and listen to it
Again.
and I'm like, this is even worse. Like, not worse as, I mean, worse as in the greatest way imagined, because it was so good. And it went from, matter of fact, I don't even think it started on like 10 from the get-go. Because I'm like, hold on, what was I like? I'm so confused. And remember, I started texting you. I was like, dude, what's going on? And you was like, okay.
Where do I start? Hold on, let me stop.
Because I'm like, did I miss some stuff in the initial Bleach? And you was like, yeah, so. And then I found myself rewatching the whole thing of Bleach. And I was like, all right. And then I had to. So, man, I have to wait. I have to wait before I catch up on this season, because I'm like, I need at least a 5-episode grace period before I get like
That's fair.
that way I can look at multiple episodes in a row, whether it's dub or sub, and I can be like, okay, I need a break because it's so intense.
So much.
So intense. I mean, I think right now this is probably one of the most intense animes that's out right now.
And because I know we've talked about it, but I don't think we've done, at least on this channel,
Right.
where I've explained how much I think Aizen was on bullshit.
Man.
But that first season of 1,000-Year Blood War, thrown out to everybody, I was right. Aizen was on bullshit, and he admits that he was on
Are you
bullshit.
talking about when he was talking to the leader of the Quincy's?
No, I'm talking about how I was very much stated that I don't think Aizen is as smart as people give him credit for. About a lot of his shit was fuck around and find out. It was like in some luck scenarios and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because pretty much the initial arcs of Bleach was just Aizen was like, what's Kisuke up to? Let me just spy on him. He doing shit over there.
Right.
Let me take his info and then kind of use it a little bit and see if I can do some shit. But I was like, off that, and people were like, nah, well, like, he had all these plans and all this other shit. And I was like, but all them shits failed. None of them shits worked. And all, like, they were literally talking about it was going to take 12 Iran cars to completely destroy the Saraytech. And then Aizen was like, all right, here's 62 of them motherfuckers. And lost. And it was like, oh, well, we were all wrong. We thought he was on some shit. You weren't. And then people were like, oh, well, he tells Ichigo he knew about everything about him from the beginning of his life. And I was like, yeah. First off, the line that people quote for him was a line taken from the bowlhead dude, Vizard, because he said it to Aizen back in the past. I was like, you stole that from him, so I don't want to hear that bullshit. Shut up. And then in 1,000-Year Blood War, they straight up show him watching his, they show his point of view for when you find out about Ichigo's parents.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, you ain't no shit. You just noticed that this Soul Reaper was getting with this fucking Quincy.
Right.
And was like, let's see if they stay together. You didn't orchestrate any of this shit. You thought they were gonna fucking die.
Speaking of which, how did they work? Like, well, I know people fall in love, but did he not know that she was a Quincy?
I don't think initially he did. I think by the end of them getting together, he knew. Because he was like watching her, and he knew because he saw her attack the thing.
He just didn't give it. He's like, man, this chick is.
Part of the problem was that they were fighting an uber powerful fucking new version of Hollow, so he was like, wherever the help comes from.
Yeah.
And then he used this fucking final Getsu, which meant you got to stay here anyway.
Right.
So you can't do shit.
But then she died. Like, how did she die?
Well, she had Ichigo had two little girls, and then after she went to pick up Ichigo from school, the Grand Fisher caught her.
Who the hell is the Grand Fisher?
You remember the very first, the first hollow that we like heard like really talking to Ichigo, the one with the lure that looked like a person. Yeah, the big angelfish lure.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show you a picture.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So you can because he comes back later on and fucking his dad kills him. Because he was like, nah, because Ichigo hurts him. He goes into hiding. He gets turned into an Iran car and comes back. And Ichigo's dad's like, fuck yeah, he's here, and murders him. And then like, I've been waiting for you.
Right.
Because I know, because Ichigo was like, nah, mom just fucking died. I don't know what the fuck happened. I blame myself though.
Right.
But his dad was like, nah, it was Grand Fisher when I find that motherfucker. I swear to God. Which always threw me off because I was like, I think they explained that she was like losing her Quincy powers or something like that. Because I was like, they really should have. I don't remember them saying that she was losing her Quincy powers, but maybe she was. Because that definitely meant there should have been a fight between her and Grand Fisher.
Right.
If the Grand Fisher was trying to take Ichigo and just kind of caught her instead. And I was like, you mean to tell me that you saw Ichigo about to get snatched by a hollow and you ain't pull out no arrows?
Okay, speaking of this, so I know we supposed to be doing a recap, but doggone it, listen, when he had two small sisters, like how come they haven't, like, I know recently they kind of tapped into their stuff, but don't they got the same powers as Ichigo?
No, they don't have powers at all. They're just spiritually sensitive.
How come Ichigo got this?
Ichigo has the powers because Ichigo's dead.
Ichigo dead?
Technically. Because Ichigo, when Ichigo's soul got pushed out, what's his face, and, what's his name?
Reggie?
Not Reggie, but the guy who is his captain.
It's my old girl's sister. Me old girl brother.
Yeah. Kuchiki. Captain Kuchiki. He broke his soul chain and his heart or whatever. Like when he did that flash step and stabbed him twice, he was like, no, I severed his soul chain and this. And then Kisuke was like, alright, well, you gotta come here and we gotta do all this other bullshit so that you don't fucking fully turn into a hollow or whatever. You only turn into a hollow, you're dead.
Right.
So Ichigo's dead. And the reason he's in his body is because his body's basically just a gi guy. The little things that they go into or whatever. It's basically just a gi guy.
Okay.
At least that's how I read it. I'm like, you're dead. Because there's no way. For me, there's no. Also,
I just never thought about it like that though.
Because I'm like, he stabbed you in the heart, severed your soul chain, which is the thing that chains you to your body. And then when he becomes a Soul Reaper, or when he becomes a Visor, he watches. With a Visor or Soul Reaper, one of them, like, you see his chain is coming off,
Right.
and the chain is eating itself, and he has to like control his power. I think it's when he becomes a Visor, and he has to do that before his soul chain eats itself completely, and he just becomes a hollow. So I was like, you know, it's dead.
Okay.
Okay. Now, they can call it whatever they want, but in the grand schemes of things, that motherfucker's dead. Ain't no way. That's why when he fights Ukiura and he dies again and he turns into a hollow, it's like, okay, no, when your heart stops, your hollow takes over because you're fucking dead.
Right.
Like, you're already dead. Whatever.
Man, alright, I don't want to be overwhelmed too much because
that's the only way I can read into that. That's the only thing that makes sense for me. Now, if they come through and they say, oh, well, he's not dead, I'm like, all right, yeah, but y'all also said Rukia was a good guy, and I think she was not. I very much believe at the beginning of that show, she was trying to kill Ichigo. It's the only thing that makes sense for the way she handled these things.
Okay.
But that's a whole other video in and of itself, because Rukia sucks. And it's not that girl sucks or anything. It's just her as a character, start to finish, you suck. You get your ass whooped all the time.
All the time.
You get Krillin level ass beaten all the time. And even Krillin, we're like, hey, but you're a normal dude, Krillin. Well, you're the closest to normal dude in the group, Krillin.
No. Yamcha.
Yamcha's not in the group.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm like, we might want to count TN still sometimes, but Yamcha.
Nah, TN definitely agree. He was at the tournament, the world tournament, so he got to be in the group.
Because TN got a whole martial arts studio and stuff right now.
Not just a studio, that was
school, I should say.
Whole school in the mountains.
It was like, Yamcha played baseball.
Fair enough. We can count TN. We can't count Yamcha. Not Yamcha. What's his name? Chasu. We can't. Yeah, fuck Chasu.
Was he here when he came back? When TN came back? Was he there?
I don't think so. That's a good question.
He was holding down the school or something.
No.
I don't remember seeing him in that episode either.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson might be dead.
He might be.
He might have blew himself up again. Goodbye, Mr. TN.
Alright, can we get two more out of you before we end this? Then we're gonna, before we end it, we'll get two more. Well, no, let's do one more out of you, and then we're gonna get a list of things that you're looking forward to. Just a quick list of things what you're looking forward to, what you kind of expect, a brief summary of what you kind of expect out of the things to come, because you know you got Baki coming out, you got we got a lot of other stuff coming out. Baki came into my head first off, but yeah, and many other stuff coming, especially in the month of August, or the latter part of July, August, and in September. It seems like these 3 months is gonna be booming for a lot of stuff.
September and August, I believe, is supposed to be the next, like, the fall season or something like that. Because when stuff starts in July, 12 weeks from that is about October.
Right.
So that's when people are like, all right, well, it's time to work on the next project, put the next thing out. As far as things that I'm watching currently, next 2 things is going to be Jobless Reincarnation Season 2 has started, and Jobless Reincarnation is one of those shows where I was like, when I was first watching and understood the premise of it, I believe I've said it before, Isekai is my favorite genre.
Hold on. Isekai, what's
going to another world type thing.
Oh, yeah, okay. I like that too.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
It is 100%. I will 100%. It's my favorite genre. I like other things, but that's my favorite genre because I like to see what someone's interpretation of what a normal person from our world would do in this other world. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have took that route. That doesn't make sense because you have an adult brain. You know about this.
Right.
Why would you do that? And it just makes it a more relatable situation for me. But the stuff where it's like, oh, well, no, it's just in a fantasy realm. And it's like, all right, no, you did something stupid and you've lived here your entire life. That doesn't make sense.
Unless you get reincarnated. And now I'm finding...
Well, those are isekais.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So you said because you live for life. I'm like, because we previously talked about prior to the video recording. We talked about I just finished. Well, I'm halfway through the last episode of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. And season 2, yes. So I'm about done now. In about a couple of months, they're probably gonna be released. Oh no. It's I think early next year they should be.
Yeah, because they put a movie out this year. So.
Yeah, they're gonna be releasing season 3. Man, listen, I'm like, he literally got murdered and they brought. I said, Lord, I can't even get it out of my mouth. He got murdered in broad daylight.
100% broad daylight.
And everybody was just watching.
Just heading home.
They was like, this man got a knife. Wow. Got whacked. Just like, I'm like, what the heck? And
delete my internet history.
And this was a show that Jordan was like, since we started recording anything, he was like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch this show. And I'm like, man, listen.
You asked for recommendations, and I said that first.
And I was
like, first and foremost, watch that.
And I was like, this looks stupid. It kind of sounds stupid. And then that first episode didn't do it justice. This dude just getting murdered. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, this is
like no one was prepared for that. No, it was like I knew it was an isekai, and I still wasn't prepared to. Oh, that's how you went out. Man, that sucks.
So when you said that, I was like, man, listen. So okay, I'm sorry because that, if you can get past that initial shock of like, what the f just happened, and then this Joker turns into a slime, like what the hell, like what can this? It gets a lot better because it gets a lot better.
That's what I mean by like the whole. He went somewhere else and he was like just a normal dude like in our world. Because like I feel like someone from their world gets reincarnated into a slime, they're going to be depressed for a while. Because they know what a slime is and they're like, oh no, I'm weak, all this other stuff, and it's like they're very, very much worried. They probably die when they meet that first enemy just because they're like so bogged down about being a slime. Someone from our world is just like, what the fuck's going on? You're just trying to absorb all the information you can.
Right.
You don't really have. And then he goes off the whole, I know about video games. I'm going to approach it this way. And then that's one of those things where it's like, a lot of times when I'm watching those stuff, it's like, what kind of gamer are you? Are you that type of gamer that's going to go through and meticulously get everything, figure out everything, try to be like, okay, I can use this way, I can use this that way? Or are you that person that's like, no, the system said I can do that. I'm going to do this. And then when he gets, well, you've seen it, the system that is in his head, it gets upgraded. Later, and it's just like a wealth of knowledge where he just goes, can I do this?
Raphael.
Raphael is like, can we do this? And it's like, give me a second. No, but we can do this. And it's like cool just to see the different route trees that people can take when they get sent somewhere else.
I like the fact that if we're going to just in particular on incarnation of the slime, Raphael is like, I be trying to tell you, dumb butt, and this is all this stuff.
Raphael don't be having it.
Like Raphael be like she, because he has a woman's voice, so we're gonna say she. She be saying. So she was like, when he
like talking cash shit,
right? When he was fighting, what's her name, Malene, because they're about to kill homeboy. There was Demon Lord. What's his name? Kravis. What?
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and she was like, oh man, this got this weak necklace. Like this stuff ain't. You think this little weak crap gonna phase me? No, I was just playing stupid. I let you hit me those times, but you lucky I didn't beat your. And then he goes like, Raphael, you knew this the whole time. And she was like, I tried to tell you, dumb boy. Like I tried to tell you.
Malene don't seem like she's being controlled. She don't seem like something's off over there. Raphael, why you gonna tell me? Fuck you. How about that? How about that, Rimuru? Fuck you. How about that?
So alright, I'm sorry, that's completely off base, but like the fact that I finally caught up and I was like, oh crap, this is the reason why the show, because yeah, man, it's good catching up on good anime.
Oh, and that's why I mentioned when watching that, one thing that is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? I was like,
I got to add that to my list. You got to
because I was like, if people like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, I feel like maybe it's just biased because I watched them around the same time, but I was like, the level of we put a bar here and we are not going below it is just so understood with those shows.
Right.
And that's part of the reason I like Jobless Reincarnation was because it will not take a step. Like, when people...
I gotta look at Jobless Reincarnation.
And it's one of those things where it's like, everybody loves the shonen. Everybody loves when there's a bunch of fights.
Right.
They have good fights, and watching the show, I thought that I would be like, I want more fights.
Right.
And I was like, because there's not a lot of fights in that show, but it was surprising me how much I was like, no, I just want to see where you're going with this story.
Yes.
Like and then when the fights are happening, I'm still invested in them. And then for season 2, like where season 1 ended, on just a low point, like such a low point in their main character's life that I'm like, because it's another isekai, so he died and got reincarnated,
Right.
and he was shitted on when he was in our world, just a shut-in, shitted on by his parents' family. Like he stopped going to school because he got terribly bullied at school and became a shut-in. But he had a shitty life over here. Then he goes over into the other world and he's like, maybe it'll be better. Maybe I'm fine. I'm a completely different dude. I don't have to dwell on that stuff. But it's still stuff that's like in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, we put you down in like the dirtiest dumps from the beginning. Moved you over here. Your life's getting better, getting better, getting better. Events happen. Things are down but not terrible. Then at the end of your season, you're just like, you're not all the way back down, but this is definitely like the lowest point you've had since you came over to this other world. And it's just like so much rooting for you to where it's like, if that whole season had been them just getting to a level where he's getting back up there to being like himself, I would have understood it. I'm glad they didn't, but I would have understood it. Because I would have 100% been like, nah, like you were just 100% down in the dumps, because what happened, I understand from an adult standpoint. In your mind, it's like, no, that was all shitty. But at the same time, watching and not being in the situation, I also was like, that's not what they meant. Like that's not what the people around you were intending.
Right.
But I 100% understand how you drew that conclusion. And it's like, it's just great. It is truly like one of those shows where it's like, again, I already put it up there with That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime, or Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in the Bedroom? Because that's not one of those shows that a lot of people are throwing up there. Like they put Demon Slayer like high up. What? All three of the shows that I just mentioned beat Demon Slayer for me. Like,
but that's not shit on Demon Slayer though.
I'm shitting on Demon Slayer.
I'm not.
No. I understand what you were saying. Is that what I said wasn't shitting on them? I just want y'all to know I'm shitting on you. I don't care about any of your main characters. All three of your main characters, I was like, if they all die and they're like, all right, but we're just gonna focus on this one Hashira. And I'm like, maybe, maybe. I still don't. I don't know. It don't captivate me.
We gonna ignore him about Demon Slayer. I still think it's good. Great. I enjoy it.
I don't think it's terrible. I just don't think.
Well, that's not saying much for you.
I feel like it is. I feel like it
If
is.
you get a good out of you, yeah, but not terrible. It's like,
I feel like I call a lot of things good.
You know you don't.
I feel like I call a lot of.
No, you don't. You say a lot of not terrible.
Maybe I do.
There's a lot of not terrible, but
that might be true. I might be too hard on things.
That's what
Maybe I gotta think about that. They're not gonna, but maybe
your categories is not too. It's whether it's shitty, not too terrible, good, or it's great. And I've only heard you put 3 great. You had 4 greats, and like a lot of not so terrible and a couple of shitties. I haven't got to a good point. Good is below great, and there's a lot of not too terrible.
That might be true. I'm over here in my head putting anime in categories now. I'm like, you might be right. I might have just watched too much anime. I ain't gonna stop though.
Oh man.
So,
yeah. All right, what's your last one? All right, what's the last one? What you got?
Currently is
oh man,
Reign of the 7 Spellblades.
What?
It's something that it's about 3 episodes deep right now. I'm watching that. I'm very.
Is this season 1 or what?
It's season 1.
Okay.
Yeah. And I hadn't heard anything about this show.
Okay.
Like literally, I had watched something else and it was on the side while I was watching it, and it was like, hey, you might like this, and I was literally like, I'll put you on because I need to not pay attention to something right now because I'm supposed to be doing something else. But the whole it's a school anime, but it's a a fantasy setting school anime where they're all training to be I don't know, sorcerers or wizards or something like that, but they understood from a wizarding standpoint that it's like, hey, when people get close up to you, you got to be able to do something more than just chant. So they give you swords. So they're like, no, you're learning swordsmanship and wizardry or sorcery, whatever they call it.
Ooh, it sounds like Hogwarts on steroids.
A little bit. And they're like straight up first episode, they kind of lean you in light. It was like just because they're like, hey, they're going to school. This is you meeting the school or whatever. It's the first Harry Potter movie. You just got to Hogwarts.
Right.
This is what we on. But at the same time, that very first episode, one of the characters, you realize that like the teachers go around the world and they're just recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
One of the girls, a teacher recruited her out of a war. Like she was mid-war, and he stopped everything in the war and was like, "Hey, you want to come be a mage?" And she's like, "What?" And it's like, "All right, you go to school here now. All right, cool." And she's like, "I don't know magic. I didn't ask you if you knew magic. I sent you to mage school." She's like a samurai, and she was surrounded by people with spears and was about to get stabbed. And as one person tried to stab her, it like stopped like in front of her face, and then looks up and there's a dude hanging upside down on a broom, and he looks at her and goes, "You want to be a mage?" And it's like, what are you talking about? It's like here in this moment,
you talking about close call? For real.
And this is literally like, what are you talking about? I couldn't imagine that happening in my real life. Like imagine like you're about to get jumped by like 8 people in a club, and then somebody is standing on the roof upside down and goes, "But you want to drive NASCAR though?" And it's like, no. Like, what are you talking about? Right here, right now? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, we're going to make you a NASCAR driver. And it's like, sir, I don't even have a license right now. And it's like, that's fine. You don't need one. We'll figure that shit out later.
Man, what the heck? Oh, okay.
She gets in this huge fight with one of her other... They're supposed to be sparring because they were just given the basics of swordsmanship and stuff. They're supposed to be sparring. And the teacher puts a spell on their swords to where they cannot deal fatal wounds to them. Mm-hmm. And they're just supposed to be sparring. And during the spar, they get so serious that spell gets broken, and they're about to murder each other in the middle of class. Teacher luckily stops it and is like, "Hey, fuck your problem." But it's very much one of those shows where it's like, I don't know what they're doing at all with their story right now. All I know, they're in the school. The school is dangerous in and of itself because they straight up tell you that at the beginning they're like 80% of mages die to what they call being consumed by the spell. And what that is either you went to school and you got murdered by a classmate because some type of altercation happened between you and this classmate. You got consumed, like you got drugged back to wherever you summoned the monster from. You summoned the monster and it just killed you. You were studying forbidden magics and it went awry and you died somehow from that. They were like, there are 80% of people who become mages will get consumed by the spell, meaning you will die somehow dealing with magic or something like that.
What the heck?
They're going to school to be mages. I was like, that show, it had such a high ceiling for me. And I was like, since they have such an open book for what they can do, you have such a high ceiling, but you have such an ability to fuck up, that I'm like, I really hope you do this well.
Honestly, it sounds like, it's giving me, gosh, doggone, what's the name of the doggone show? About the orphans that got captured and Promised the Neverland vibes. That's what it's giving me. As when you're talking, that's what I'm thinking about because season one was so freaking good. The anime version was so freaking good, and then season 2 was like shitty. Like it was, you had writers quitting, left and right, blaming, pointing fingers. It was just done so horrible. So that honestly, that kind of scared me for certain animes. It's like you have such a high ceiling what you can do, but if you choose to go the wrong way or the wrong thing, it could go bad real quick.
Well, and when I say high ceiling, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like they set it up to be compelling.
Right.
But at the same time, when you get into stuff where it's like a school setting, it's also very possible for you to sit here and go, well, no, we have a couple of subjects that they study, and we're just going to focus on them trying to get through their studies or whatever.
Right.
Or they're like, okay, well, they want to be in the top of the class, and the only thing is like, oh, there's a student council, that's the problem. And it's like, I don't want you to give me something that's been done 82 times. Like, there's always a student council. There are always kind of bad people in the student council. There's always a teacher who's a problem. Like in your headmaster, you're always not really sure on whether they're actually a good person or not. It's like, so it's one of those things where it's like, if they go that route, and it's just like, okay, this is just what every other school shonen anime is like.
Right.
Boring. But they've already put into where it's like, no, not only are the people a problem, not only is the study the problem, just being in this school is a liability for a problem. Like, because episode 1 or 2, they show you that there is a underground labyrinth under the school, where the school was built. But since it's a magical labyrinth or whatever, at night, the labyrinth creeps up on the school. So certain sections, like if you're out, it's like 10 o'clock, and you're just roaming the school, you have a possibility to keep walking and realize, oh no, you're in an underground labyrinth. Now, you went to the bathroom, and for some reason, when you came out of the stall, you're now in an underground dungeon and you don't know where you're at.
Hell to no.
They got monsters in it. There's higher level students in there. Some of them just murder people, because we've met in like episode 2. We've met some of the seniors. One of them is a dude that collects bones. He's like a necromancer type dude, and was planning to murder them. And it was like, no, I'm going to kill you and use your bones for my magic. And then another girl senior that they met seduces people, and then you don't really know what she does with them after she gets you under their control, because she didn't succeed in doing it, but she was trying to like, nah, get them under control. And then like she meets the necromancer dude as they're both basically trying to get these kids, and then they see each other, and basically on sight is like, fuck you. And then they start fighting, and it's like, she summons this giant ass monster out, he summons this dragon, this bone dragon, and those things just start fighting in the middle of this fucking underground labyrinth, and you're just like,
what the
these
heck?
kids are gonna die. It's just like, that's why I was like, there's so much that they've already established that they're like, no.
I won't want to go to this damn school. I ain't gonna lie to you. Straight up, like, man, listen, I don't need to be going to the bathroom. Like, oh, I'm tired. Let me go to the bathroom. I ain't trying to pee on myself. And I walk out this joker, and I'm in a labyrinth where I could die. I'm just gonna close the damn door and just go back to sleep.
You know you need to pee at 6 o'clock. Go pee at 6. Do not wait till 7. You see that sun start to go down, you go to the bathroom now, you go back to your class, you go back to your fucking dorm room.
But after I'm just gonna go ahead and get jugged and stick my weasel in
That
It just, because it's like, it's not worth it.
at all.
Like, what if I got a pool? Listen, we about to order a porta potty or something. I'm not leaving this room.
Like, cause not when the sun down. As soon as they would have told me that, I was like, all right, bet. And I should have said that in the intro. Like, there should have been a pamphlet or something that told me that. Cause it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, in those type of shows, it's like, there's always kids who like had siblings or teachers or somebody in
a
their
legacy
family
or something,
told them, hey, these are some of the things that happens there. It's like, in episode 1, some kids are almost late to class because there's some little monster that's like called like a knock knock or something like that, or a clock knock. And all they do, these monsters are so fucking pointless. All they do, they're little wispy little fairy things, and all they do is hang on clocks so that the clocks are wrong. That's it. It's so fucking dumb. I was like, those things are pointless. I hate them. They're so pointless. And then, as someone who's like, body will wake them up at 5 a.m., like me, my body will say, hey, it's 5 a.m., we're up, even though I didn't go to sleep. But it's like, that's okay for me. And one of the kids, he does wake up and he looks at the time and he's like, that's not right. It's like, oh, right, there's fucking clock knocks here. And he like waves them off and he's like, looks outside and it's like, it's probably like 7 o'clock, something like that. But it's like, that has to suck. Any kid who's like, nah, my mom usually wakes me up or anything like that, like, you're just late. You're late for like the first month of school. And it's just like, we don't care. There's clock knocks here. That's it. That's all you know.
All I know. When it's sun go down, your ass need to be in there.
You gotta get the sundial. You want the timer out here.
God damn. Alright. Last but not least, let's go ahead and get shows that hold on, we did a recap of shows that you want.
Those are shows I was already watching.
Okay. What are you looking forward to? Just a quick 5.
I don't think I have 5.
How many you got?
Like 3.
Okay.
We already talked. Baki's supposed to be coming back. I'm excited whenever Baki's coming back. I just truly enjoy that show. It's to the point where I might go ahead and start reading Baki because Netflix be tripping about how long they want to wait.
Yeah.
And since I realized like there's so much Baki, because I know a lot of people started Baki on Netflix and whatnot, and then anytime people talk to me about that, I'm like, okay, but did you see the beginning of Baki? They're like, yeah, when those people came up, pulled up on them at school, I'm like, no. Go watch Baki the Grappler.
Right.
Those 2 seasons, and then you'll understand what was really up with the beginning of Baki. Because they're like,
when you're Shima Kitsu's mom in front of
yeah, when you see that man, it's like, because you don't, without watching that, you don't understand why he doesn't like his dad.
Right.
You're just like, oh, your dad wasn't around? He's like, nah, he was here every now and again.
No,
He's like, you hate him because he wasn't around? No, I'm happy he's not around. It's like, no, I prefer him not be around.
This joker pulled up on this man while he was in the middle of stroking this girl.
He wasn't even in the middle. He was over here nervous about possibly starting, and then he just looks up. He's like, "Yo, dad, right there." He was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, Boggy, that's right. Get him drunk."
He like, "Yeah, that's what gonna help you with your power. Get your power up."
Then looked over at her and was like, "Give it to him whenever he wants. Whenever he wants."
God.
And then just walked out, and it was just like,
I would. If I was I know this is out of line. This is
because that's how you know them kids was horny. Because I was like, ain't no way I'm thinking about anything other than my pops was in here. Like he was right there, and then that was a wild ass conversation for you to have.
And I mean, listen,
and they was just like,
right, they have to be one because any other
top
guy,
level,
I know, because vagina
like,
would have just dried up so quick. It would have been like a desert and that thing.
There would have been fear. The fear that this monster of a man was standing over the bed. And that, you know, that might be why she was so into it. Because she was like, that guy's going to kill me. He just said, give it to him whenever he wants. Look, I don't got a choice here.
Oh, look, hell no. Listen, I'm not about to do no dry vagina hurts on both ends. It hurt. It don't. Like, how? Look, no. My dad just showed up. How can I get on hard? How can I get on hard?
And I hate that motherfucker.
He just trying to get me stronger so we can fight. And he telling you to give it to me. And this man ain't little either.
And he basically just told me to use the girl that I'm in love with to get stronger to fight you by fucking. And it's just like, nothing of this conversation would have been helpful to me doing what you just told me to do. Alright?
Oh my god.
And I was like, and then it goes back to like, you know what? Baki ran around this whole city earlier today because he was just trying to fuck. So I was like, you know what? He was already on 10. the main thing he was nervous about was probably like, "Hey, pops, I'm already bricked up. Can you leave? Because this is weird for me to be bricked up with my father in the room."
Right.
It's like, just immediately was just like, "Well, can't do that tonight." And it's like,
Oh my god.
like that's a crazy ass thing for her to have to deal with like the
for
next
real.
day. Going like, man literally told me that, hey, fuck him whenever he wants. And then they were like, did we just get permission from your dad? It's like, no, I mean, yes, but I don't feel like that's what you should have been focused on. I was like, that's wild as hell. And then I was also, because I am just like, with where Baki Hanma ended, they're doing the whole synchronicity thing.
Right. Okay.
So all the criminals that got put back in jail, they're breaking back out
Again?
Yeah, you didn't see it at the very end of Baki Hanma?
No, did somebody die?
Some of the criminals I do think died, but like they showed that the dude was painting, the Russian dude who his mind reverted back to being a child.
Yeah.
Whatever, he was painting and he was doing the squat thing or whatever, so he was doing the training. They showed the guy who lost his eyes. He also punctured his own eardrums.
Oh,
And he started killing stuff in the bats and shit in the room. So, and I believe that was also the guy who had like knives in his arms and some shit like that.
Oh, that dude.
So he was doing his thing. The guy with the vortex dude, he just broke back out. So it's like they're doing a whole thing where it's like, no, they went back,
No,
did some training.
I thought they ended at the tournament when he called out his dad and they were supposed to fight.
You didn't watch the last season of Baki.
Yes, I did.
Because the last season of Baki, you saw when he did his training with the praying mantis.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not the end of the tournament.
Man, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna make sure because last time I checked, he called his dad out and was like, "Hey, bring your ass down here. We about to fight." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Because he called out his dad, and then Baki Hanma came out. Because he fights the mantis after calling out his dad. Because his dad goes off because he's with the general, and the general's like, "Yeah, you heard Baki's doing training with visualization training with mantises and whatnot." And his dad's like, "Yeah, that's stupid or whatever. Fuck visualization. I fight the training."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But then they're walking through that museum, and then he sees a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Because the general keeps going, "Do you think you can fight this mana? Do you think you can fight this bear?" Then he sees a T-Rex, and that's when Yujiro goes, he says, "Do you think you can fight this T-Rex?" That's when Yujiro starts smiling or whatever, which gives me the impression that he's about to do visualization training versus a T-Rex to prepare to fight Baki, which is wild as hell. Especially since the last time he fought Baki, like, damn, that did not go well for him.
Who?
Didn't go well for Baki.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was gonna say, what do?
Ain't nobody done anything to fucking
You
Yujiro.
know what I'm saying?
That old man almost caught him in one, but that was it. But they're the whole events after, because he goes to when he fights not Biscuit, when he fights Unchained.
Yeah, Unchained.
Yeah, that's after he already called out Yujiro.
Yeah, I remember.
Because the tournament was the Raikai.
Yeah.
The Raikai when he called out his dad after that.
Man, I could have sworn. Never mind. All right, I'm just.
Because after the Raikai, he has all that stuff that he deals with Muhammad Ali Jr.
Right. Yeah.
And then when he fights Muhammad Ali Jr., that's when he looks up to the crowd. That wasn't a tournament. That was just him beating up Muhammad Ali Jr.
Right.
And he looks up and he sees Yujiro at the top, and he's like, basically like, "You're next."
Maybe that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because that does happen, but that's before the events of Baki Hanma.
Okay.
Before he goes to prison. And
do all change stuff.
That was the last season.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, after that, but at the end of that,
he's a punk. He was a punk. He was
a little bit.
Yeah. He was a vagina.
Stop pulling up on this man's girlfriend. What's wrong with you? Pull up on all the masters and then beat them up, and then got mad when they pulled up on you. It was like, what you thought? They were just going. they're just gonna chill. Like, nah, you pulled up on them randomly. They pulled back up. Like, you didn't want them to pull up. You should have left Japan.
Right.
Like, that's on you, buddy. Now they would have found you because all these motherfuckers rich and shit. But and you Muhammad Ali Jr. It's not like we can't find you, but especially his dad pulled back when Muhammad Ali pulled up, beat his ass, and was like, nah. He was talking about that cash shit. You better be ready for anything. I was like, nah, you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm hurt. I'm injured. I don't give a fuck. He was like, nah, I'm gonna give you old fashioned ass whooping on this Muhammad Ali senior shit, and then you gonna get back in the gym.
Right.
So like you wanted this shit. You wanted to fight Baki. You wanted to try to take his girl. You wanted to fight all the masters and whatnot. You wanted to do this whole little I'm the best around shit on some Rocky shit. And it was like, all right, you can do that. But once you get knocked down, you don't get to be a bitch about it.
Right.
Like, you gotta come through and show me something. Now, granted, I don't know, maybe he'll come back later because Baki was not playing with him
at all.
He was like, hey, 2-piece real quick. I was like, nah. Especially because I do think he'll come back better because it was one of the same things that they initiated in the first season of Netflix is that you can get fought at any time, and there's a difference between fighting in a tournament, something that you're prepared for, and a street fight.
Right.
And Baki explained to him, when you come into this freaking underground ring, it is a street fight. This isn't the same as what you're doing out there in the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't care about them low blows. We don't care about punching under the belt. We don't care about none of that shit.
All of it's legal.
You can do whatever the fuck you want down here. Came up, all right, now you got kicked in the nuts. Now what are you going to do? All right, now I'm punching you in the face. Now what you going to do?
Oh, Lord.
Quick little 2-piece. Now you're crying. Now you're crying in front of all these people. All these people. I got dressed, got my little cuff links on and shit. Now, 3 seconds later, now I got to walk back out. Shouldn't even warmed up for this shit. But I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. Because especially I know that there's a sumo season that was written. So I don't know if that's where they're at next or where they're going on the whole. Because I also think there's supposed to be some type of Neanderthal that gets thawed out, right? Something like that. So that guy's probably a fucking problem in and of itself. So I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah. What else we got?
I was mentioning this to you before we started recording. A Returnance Magic should be special. I'm very excited to see what they do with that because I read. I'm currently caught up to the manga on that or the web novel, whatever it's technically called on that, and it's an anime where he is in the middle of the apocalypse later on, and everything's about to get destroyed, and he gets sent back like 20 years into his younger body or whatever. So he has knowledge of the events that are going to come out, and he's doing everything in his power to stop the apocalypse from coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just him going through, and it's like, okay, no, I know this person. I need you to be stronger than you were when I knew you. So it's like, let me get your training started early. Let me give you a couple hints here and there. Let me put you up against a couple stronger people. So it's like, no, I need you stronger now. And I need you to be smarter now.
Right.
And it's like, and so we gotta get your magic up. We gotta do this, this, and this. It's like, I understand what the things that you do in the future to get stronger. What if I got you to do that stuff 2 years earlier?
Right.
Like, that's the type of stuff he's on. But at the same time, he is very, very quick with magical calculation. So a lot of times when people are like putting up magic or whatever, he will immediately with the read the magic that they're putting in the air.
Right.
He can either dispel it or counter it real quick with something else because he's so quickly on just, oh, that's a fireball, get rid of it.
Right.
Oh, that's a fireball, fucking tornado. Do that shit the other way. And it was like, it was such a fun read for me because it was like, it's one of those things where it's like imagining if you went back in time and you knew everyone that you knew, but already, like, you still had your memories, and how would you react with the people that were like, how do I react with you, who I was in love with, but died? How do I make you not die without saying, hey, do this because you die on the 23rd. Like, without, because now you sound fucking crazy. It was like, it is such a, it was just fun to read that, and I'm very excited for what they're going to do with it. And the last one that I'm really looking forward to, for whenever they finally put it out, and I know a lot of people are upset because it keeps getting pushed back or they keep giving different info on it. I don't care how long it takes them, take the fucking time, because I want it to be amazing, is Solo Leveling. You've probably heard it thrown
I'm
around.
gonna say, I think I've heard this one. I'm thinking.
So, Solo Leveling is, I don't know if it still is, but I know at one point it was like the highest, like, viewed web novel. So it was one of those, and it's going to be a lot of people's introduction to what a web novel turned anime is going to be. So it needs to be good. It needs, not good, it needs to be great, because the story is amazing. And seeing, he is not a necromancer, but he can basically take the souls out of things and use them. Mm-hmm. And like basically, he gets a copy of them after he takes their soul. It's a shadowed copy of them, mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where he's climbing. He's opening. There's gates opening all over the world, and he's a hunter. And he starts out low-level hunter. He's graded like an F rank hunter. Just bad with everything, always getting murked, like almost dying in every gate that he goes into. People are like, "Hey, bro, you gotta stop doing this.
Right.
Like, go get a different job." He's like, "I can't. My sister's in school and I gotta pay for that, and my mom's sick and I gotta pay for that too. So I ain't got nothing else I can do but go be a hunter." And he goes through and like, I'm trying to remember exactly because it's such a long story on like One Piece levels of long.
Oh, yeah.
For like chapters. Well, not that long because it's only 200 chapters now. So it's time frame on when I first started reading it strictly. But he gets through. Basically gets a power up. He gets this ability to take the souls out of things and use them how he sees fit. But he also starts getting different type of weapons, different type of abilities, different type of skills and stuff like that. But he doesn't know where it's coming from or realize why it's happening. So he's basically going through all this going, all right, where did the system come from? Because it's giving me powers, it's giving me abilities, I can get weapons and all this shit. But at the same time, it also says, hey, you got to do extra shit. Like he has to do like extra workouts and shit like at the very beginning. He's just like,
so is it complete? Is the series complete?
The manga's over. Yeah.
Okay.
So it has a 179 or something like that actual chapters, and then 21 side story chapters where they go into, after his story's over, they go into a couple episodes of epilogue, and then they give you some more stuff on his kid at the end. And I've expressed before, I hate shows that gives you another season about someone's kids. Like, I just don't like that premise.
I don't know. I appreciate Boruto, but at the same time, with that being said, I didn't really care for Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be bringing up like his kids.
Yeah, so I didn't really care for his son. Like,
I didn't even see, because what is it, Dragon's Judgment or something?
yeah,
like that?
I didn't see it. That was I didn't see it either. It looked.
Because the next season isn't supposed to be like, they're supposed to be putting on another season next year for that, but it's not supposed to be like centered on the son, but you will see him or whatever. But I was like, I don't really care for that, because a lot of times it feels like, oh, we're trying to show the progression of time, but we need it still linked to our main other characters. Like for Boruto, for me, you could have done all the events that happened in Boruto and put it in a different village, or just been over there. Because literally, they're like, okay, and I feel like some people will be like, oh, the Momoshikis or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, they like had real beef with like Naruto and Sasuke. I'm like, no, they had beef with the world.
Yeah,
They had beef with the world. So, like, you could have given me a main character in the Mist and showed me that the Mist is trying to change under the new Mitsukage or whatever he is, or whatever, because they were very much closed off. At the end of Naruto, they were like, hey, when we made this Ninja Alliance or whatever, it was under the assumption that, hey, once the shit's done, we understand that we need to, like, be more cohesive as a people.
Right.
So it's like, you could have put this to where it's like, main character, let's throw them in a different village. Just so we can kind of see how they're reacting to the whole, alright, well, the Leaf has 2 fucking superpowers over there, because they have Naruto and Sasuke over there. This is our main little core group. If you're going to make a whole other group of classes of different people, why not throw them in another village so I can see your world more?
I get that, but at the same time,
Because you know why people want it? Because you still need to be linked to your original other characters.
I get that, but from a guy who, I get that. I get that. But I also like saying, I don't know. I ain't gonna say that. But you know what? I'm gonna say it. Because, but I also like the development of like seeing Gar's kids. And I'm like, okay, cool. He got black skin, Gar. Yeah, I know black skin. Okay, cool. And then you see, what the hell Tamari and Shikamaru kid is. He just as smart as his dad.
Right.
And I'm talking about, and to me, I get it, but at the same time, I also like the premise of like, Barto's gonna die. Like, he on time scale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not gonna be around like his daddy. Man, his dad could live forever.
Yeah.
He could live forever. Been the greatest, blah, 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 blah. Hokage, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, Naruto, cool beans. But your son, he got had by these aliens. He on the time scale. Kind of like, to me, it's like, Attack on Titans. We know Aaron's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
He on the time scale.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then to see, Kawaki, this is from the manga, you know, seeing how he manipulates everybody's mind into thinking that, you know, because you know at the beginning of Boruto they show the flash previous, they show Kawaki and Boruto. In that moment, what people don't realize, Boruto is the enemy of the Leaf.
Yeah.
He's the enemy of Leaf because of what Kawaki did. Because Kawaki wants to be Naruto's son.
Right.
So he manipulates the people's mind into thinking, oh, he's actually Boruto's real son. And Boruto is Kawaki, the adopted child, or whatever. He wants to take over, blah, blah, blah. So I think the further they get into it, the better it gets. But the manga, I like reading the manga, but I don't mind listening to people explain it chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, listen, I ain't about to sit down and read. Hell, I don't even read my Bible. I listen to the Bible. I'm talking about read it when I really want something specific. I go and look up it, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's why I listen to Comics Explained. His ass can break down the whole comic. And I'm like, oh crap, that's dope. And he literally does it page by page. And he showed you. And I'm like, oh, that crap's dope. That's it. And he do the whole series. He don't just do one comic of a series and then leave. He do the whole series. And I'm like, oh, that series is dope. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I know something. I have to read it, but he was explaining to me.
Yeah.
He read it and he was explaining to me. Like,
I completely get that, because I don't know where my comic book knowledge comes from. I know a lot of random knowledge about comic books. I ain't read no comic books.
so, but man, so that's my whole deal about that. I like it. I mean, I don't mind it being Boruto. I just wish people could get out of that mindset. Like, it's yeah, we got Naruto and all that crap, but if you get, I don't care for Naruto. Because if I'm going to do a show, if it's going to be Boruto, let's be about Boruto. Yeah, I don't care about, Naruto's going to have his experiences and Sasuke's going to have, they're going to have their portion. The old characters going to have their portion. But as long as they're not the center focus of it, and they're more side characters than they are main characters, I care less.
Yeah, and then like I know, because I haven't watched any of Boruto, and a lot of people were coming through saying they didn't like that the older generation got nerfed, and then some people were like, oh well, they didn't get nerfed. It's just showing that the kids are stronger than them and whatever. And I was like, they got nerfed then. I was like, that's like basically what you're saying. Telling me, because I was like, no, it's one of those things where it's like there's a line there where people are like, oh well, it's not nerfing or they did get nerfed or blah blah blah. The problem is, if you had thrown them in a whole nother village and made these children of somebody else and had been like, okay, these are actually some other village, there would have been no way for me to go, oh, you had to nerf Naruto in order to make him look good.
See, I don't think that way. Honestly, I get what you're saying, but I challenge you on this. Just like in sports, would you say players today are better, like almost like the NFL? Do you think that players today are better than players like in the 2000s? We're gonna just say in the 2000s are better than players in the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay then. Why? Because the people in the 90s, there was so much stuff to come out for science and medicine and recovery. All this stuff was developed to help these characters.
And they give you none of that.
But you can assume it though.
You can assume that somehow
That's how they're better than what Naruto and Sasuke and Sakura and all these other folks.
The issue is that they come through and they're like, hey, you're better at them than this, innate me.
I don't know. That's why I look at it. I guess I look at it more of a full circle moment. Like that's how I would look. That's how.
Because if they had a moment where they sit there and go, they sit there and go and they stop and they go, yeah, like he's been he's been workshopping that after I taught him how to do this part of it. He started workshopping it and doing this and blah blah blah. And we see that training progression. And so like, all right, cool. I understand how you got to be where you're at, but at the same time, because essentially for Naruto learning the Rasengan,
right.
Nothing about Naruto learning the Rasengan made it feel cheap that was the the fourth Hokage's move or anything like that. Nothing about that was like, oh, he got it too easy or it didn't really matter. It was just like, but when you move on, eventually stuff starts to get so low that it's just like, all right, now where are we at with the line? Because the multi-shadow clone jutsu is a forbidden jutsu.
But a lot of people use it.
Well, no, other people just use shadow clones.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was a distinction that someone else had actually told me. And it was just like, I don't remember who it was, but they were like, no, it is a perfectly fine jutsu. And then, because there was a video I was watching that was talking to you about what constitutes a forbidden jutsu. Because they were like, and people were like, we don't understand why the multi-shadow clone jutsu was a forbidden jutsu. And it was like, the amount of chakra it takes to use that would cause harm to your own body. And if things that harm yourself as a ninja is also a forbidden jutsu. So that's why the Reaper Death Seal was also a forbidden jutsu.
It harms yourself.
Yeah, it harms you as much as your enemy. So, and I was like, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because at first I was like, I don't know why you made a bunch of yourself.
Right.
Who cares? It's just like they were literally telling you at the academy to make another one of yourself, and now you're making 8. And they're like, well, no, you can't make 8. You only make 1. I was like, that's dumb. But then they're like, oh no, it takes so much chakra that you have a potential to hurt yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. Now that makes more sense on why it's forbidden.
But yeah, I know it's completely off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's because we were talking about solo leveling.
Yeah, it's talking about solo, yeah.
Solo leveling.
Completely took a left.
But yeah, because the last like 10 or 12 chapters, it shows his kid growing up and whatnot, but it doesn't. It ends in giving a parallel of his kid getting stronger in a very quick fashion because his name's Sung Jin Woo, I believe, is the main character. He sets it up to where he basically puts his kid in a tower so that he can level up, and he literally straight up tells, because I doubt it in anime, that part of it. He literally puts him through the tower because he took away his son's memories and away his powers from when he was like 3, because when he was 3 and he was seeing all these dead people around and whatnot, seeing all the powerful people around his dad and whatnot, and it was like affecting the way he was acting, like at school, because he was drawing pictures that seemed a little demonic because there were these shadow figures around him and whatnot, and they were like, "Hey, your kid's kind of fucked up." And he was like, "All right, well, I see what you mean. Let me take those memories and those powers away. All right, we're not gonna deal with that for a while. When you're ready, we'll give them back." And this is basically him testing to see if the kid was ready to get this full power back, and he was putting him in a tower to basically go through and grind levels to get up to him. He was like, "All right, when I feel like he's ready, I'm gonna take him out of the tower and like give him all his memories back." Because what he was doing is he was going through the tower, and then after he was done testing him for that time, he would wake back up in school, and he wouldn't have a full memory of what happened inside the tower that he was thrown in, because the main goal was when he was going through the tower, he was murking everything, killing everything, getting super cocky and everything like that. And his main thing was like, no, like some of the shadows were talking to him. He's like, "Isn't your son good enough now? Like we can probably tell him the truth and like give him all the info. He's in like high school now. He's like, he's good enough, right?" And then he's like, "No, he's strong enough. The problem is he's so strong that he doesn't understand that a viable option is to retreat." And I was like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because when you're overpowered and it's like you don't have the situational awareness of you went into this tower and know everything's an enemy. You don't have the situational awareness to where what happens when there's a bunch of monsters in the streets, but there's also a bunch of people in the street. I can't just start throwing out fireballs unless I want to kill everybody around here. And you don't have the situational awareness to be like, this is a bit much. I need to focus on retreating, escaping, and protecting my people.
Right.
But it's such, start to finish, I think Solo Leveling is one of the best mangas I've read. Like, and I cannot wait till they actually start putting it out there. And if they fuck it up, I'm gonna be so fucking like early on, if I feel like they're fucking that up, because if it doesn't look good, then it's gonna ruin it because it's drawn so well. And like, sadly, I think he was able to finish, but wasn't able to finish the side story. The artist for the original manga died while he was still writing it. He was the artist, so they were able to. But literally, that artist's successor finished the story.
Right.
So I was like, no, it looked amazing start to finish on it. So if they fuck that show up, whatever studio does it, fuck them forever. Like, I ain't watching shit else y'all put out. Y'all fuck that show up. Like, that's the only time, because I don't really care to, like, look up, oh, Mappa's doing this, or Funimation's doing that, or whatever. I don't really care to look up that. They fuck up Solo Leveling, immediately I'm like, nah, now I gotta figure out. It's like, hey, well, you know the new season of Dragon Ball Z's coming out, right? Who's making it? It's like, because if they're making it, fuck them.
Okay. All right, with that being said, we're going to call it quits. Till next time.
See you.